That's right.
I'm counting heads. 2, 3.
All right, so as we move through and we're heading through, some of the folks who have helped participated in your education are in the room here. There's Jimmy Newton, a former student, and he's the one who basically said we need to start doing OURs and stop doing the Winkler method. Lou is the fellow who was helping us collect those samples and getting us the data that we did for environmental chemistry, so when your numbers went awry, we had data that would help us. Blake is a former student and will be potentially one of our hosts. Tom, lead operator over here, if you do an internship, follow Tom around and make sure when you make adjustments, you don't expect that there'll be instantaneous results. It takes a while, so don't be antsy to make changes to fix things right on the spot. And Mark Protengauer was our original person when I first came down here to get the job. I said, I need a tour because I'm going to become this wastewater instructor, maybe at Clackamas, and I have no clue about any of this stuff, and he gave me a tour, so I appreciate that. So we'll move on through and head on out.
Yeah, we learn from our mistakes.
That's it. Instead of all kind of maybe going with one gigantic group and trying to hear, if it's already you guys, you want to just break them up a little bit, and that way we can kind of cycle through like drills, have shock clocks and blow whistles. So we have the truck station over here, we've got the jetter, and we've got a lot of equipment in here. If you have questions about why we don't rod, the smoke test question is, they don't really smoke, you guys don't smoke test, so we're about to delete that one. But we're getting close so that it runs all the way through. And I remember last year we were able to get into just some of the equipment you had for confined space. I think it was that would be huge. So if you don't mind, is it possible to get a couple of you guys to just kind of take a little group, maybe just move them through the different areas and walk through so we get a couple of tour guides?
Yeah, we got to set up the confined space stuff. But you want to break them into 3 groups, it'd probably be easier.
Perfect. 3 groups.
You guys are welcome to come on in. So we've got TV truck and... Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you said something about TV. Yeah, TV inspection truck. So you can see the tractor and the camera head right there, mobile. We've got about 1,200 feet of cable.
1,200 feet of cable.
And that doesn't mean you can always get 1,200 feet out in one run. It just depends on what type of pipe you're in, how big the pipe is, how much flow, upstream, downstream, etc. Multiple different kind of configurations for the camera. The camera head can move up and down. It can do about, the max pipe it would probably be able to do is somewhere in the 24-inch range, approximately. We've got multiple different wheels. So the wheels that are set up for it right now, you can see they kind of have a grip to them, and that's really made for PVC, plastic pipe. So it kind of has a grip. Go down the pipe, you'll actually see when you come back sometimes you see actually little grooves that it makes because it grips the pipe and sometimes it actually kind of grips it a little bit. Not very bad, I mean, talking millimeters, nothing where you're actually going to damage the pipe and have an issue. But then we've got multiple different kind of setups, different types of wheels. You guys are welcome to check them out. But basically how it works is they stack on one another. So you start with the smaller one, medium size, large, and that correlates to your pipe as well. So if you have a large pipe, you can have a few different wheels on there. They make bigger tractors for larger size pipe, 48-inch, 60-inch, 72-inch. This wouldn't be big enough because the flow line would be so high you would just be underwater the whole time. So they're rather big. We have an older one, but we need to probably reinvest in a new one. But we don't do, very small portion of our time is TV really large pipe. So, anyways, yeah, so you guys are welcome to come in. We've got nitrogen gas, basically, you hook it up to a few parts of the camera and it kind of creates a seal so no water, liquid could get in and then...
Do you do that before each time?
No, you don't have to do it each time. It just varies. We have a kind of a sensor in here in the middle of the truck, or at the kind of control center that I'll show you guys in a minute, and you'll know. It kind of blinks at you, hey, you need to do this next time. So, anyways, guys are welcome to come in.
What's
not a very big area, so I apologize. It's kind of fine. Get real close. So basically what will happen is when we go to an area, you can tell the generator's on, so we have to create our own power, right?
Okay.
You have the control board right there. Power will transfer over, click that on. Then you need to put your battery backup on, turn on this is the actual, obviously computer. That runs our software system. The software system is called WinCam. And it basically, when you go to a pipe, you're going to whatever area you need to go to. Right now, we're going to a Clackamas Basin. Yeah, it's going to get a little awkward. Sorry.
It's okay.
So this is just a portion of the Clackamas Basin. Clackamas is one of our larger basins, and what we're doing is just trying to systematically go through it, and we mark, we highlight what lines we've done, so we know what we've done and what we can't. I mean, we have hundreds and hundreds of lines, so if we didn't do it this way, it would be difficult to say, oh yeah, I think we did that 2 months ago. So then we'll kind of go through them. So when I go out for the day, before we leave in the morning, I'll say, okay, look at the map, figure out kind of where we're going to go for that day and focus on. And, I'll get my bearings. I mean, right now this is 212, this is 152nd. So this is kind of, Sunnyside is up here, so we're kind of in that Oregon Trail area over there.
Does this represent one day or is this several days?
No, this is several days. And, it's hard to say, oh, I go out and do 2,000 feet each day or whatever, because you have different factors. I mean, you don't, I mean, you can counter different things, but generally we're 15 to 2,000 feet a day, approximately, assuming everything's okay. So anyways, we'll take a look at the map, figure out where we're going to go. You can see I have a laptop here and that, it's got all of our maps for the entire county loaded on it, and we can go, basically I can put in, it's got sanitary and our stormwater lines. We do TV both, but we do the majority sanitary, unless we have a call out issue for a storm line or something. And then we can go to wherever we are, click on a line. You can see this is highlighted, and I can just click on as-built, and I can go ahead and get the construction as-built for that area. And I can zoom in and I can see exactly where we are. So, for example, say we had the truck like yesterday. This is where we set up yesterday afternoon. Manhole CL 26.5-4. And you can see there's a stationing right here. It says 8+09. So that's basically going to be your starting point. And why that's relevant is that when you come into your software program, you can see I did 26.5-4. We went to 3, which is this one right here. So we're doing this line segment. So then you just go ahead and you more or less just type in all your information. It'll kind of give you this grid here, and it'll say, okay, what basin are you in? Well, this is Clackamas Basin. We've got multiple different basins: Mitchell Creek, Timberline Ramp, blah blah blah. And then it'll say, okay, we'll go ahead and pick where are you sitting? Are you in heavy traffic, light traffic, an open area easement, the street? And then, are you in Clackamas County, Service District 1? We have different districts. This is District 1. What type is it? Gravity line? Is it force main? Whatever. Size of the pipe. What's your upstream manhole? What's your downstream manhole? And what type of material is it? Concrete, ductile iron, PVC. What's the shape? Well, mostly it should be round. Hopefully.
Less crushing.
And I mean, it's just really straightforward. Who's operating that day? Okay, that was me. What day did you do it? What's the vehicle number? Which way are you going? Up, down? Weather? Was it clean prior? What's the purpose? Are you just TVing the line? Are you doing sometimes we do like a warranty bond. Warranty bond is basically a contractor will put in a sewer line, and after about a year, we'll go back and we'll do an inspection to make sure that it's still structurally sound. And then if it's okay after we do that, TV it, then we'll let the folks up at the office know to go ahead and release their bond so they can kind of wash our hands.
Do you
of it.
note the condition of the pipe as well?
Yeah. So once we get all this set up, then we will actually start recording it. And when we start recording, we go ahead and press section data. And what happens is it brings up everything that I just typed in. So when you watch it, whether you're, you know, my supervisor or the county commissioner or whoever needs to see the information, they'll say, oh, okay, this is where they started. It's this manhole to this manhole, and this is what it was. And then when you watch it, when we TV it, we'll say, okay, yeah, inspection begins at the upstream manhole. It gives the footage, and then we'll go down the pipe, and then we'll just basically note anything we see. So on this one, it was really straightforward. It was a really short run. So there was a service connection at 3 o'clock. So what that means is when you're looking down the pipe, 3 o'clock is to your right, right? 9 o'clock is to your left. And that's general. 3 and 9 is general. I mean, sometimes, you know, you have service connections that come in at, say, 1 or 2. Yeah. What do you want?
You gotta take off a manhole cover.
What?
You gotta call another truck in to do your.
yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah, but there's multiple different. I mean, there's multiple different notations you can make that come. There's a few different softwares. WinCam's just one of them. There's other ones that you can use. We just happen to have WinCam. But yeah, you can make any sort of. I mean, you can say whatever. You know, we have infiltration. We have roots. We have hole, broken. You know, sag in the pipe, offsets. I mean, pretty much if you can think, if you can see it in the pipe, it's going to be here. And this is also PACP compatible program, so meaning that all this information here, anytime we go ahead and make an observation, it's automatically weighted. I don't know if you guys go over PACP and the weighting system 1 through 5, if that makes any sense. You guys haven't touched on that? It might be a little bit beyond the scope of what you guys are doing. But when PACP is basically the regulatory, like, universal body for grading pipes. So, and why that's important is so that way if you're talking to someone in Maryland or Chicago or whatever, you say, oh, hey, we got this pipe, it's a 4. They're going to audit, we're on the same page. They're obviously, you know, assuming they took the PACP training, I took the PACP training.
It's like a common language.
Yeah. They know that, like, oh, the higher the number, the worse the pipe is. 1's good, 5's bad.
Okay.
Basically.
Because we've done, like, Manning's equation. We use, like, the
yeah, those
C
numbers were
value.
high. They were like 14 and 15.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
It's different.
But so anytime I make, like, if I came in here and said, oh, there was whatever, a longitudinal crack from, I don't know, from 10 o'clock, see how it rates it at a 3? So it already...
Oh, it does it automatically for you.
Yeah, it automatic. And this is, I mean, we can go ahead and manipulate those. You know, we've gone through them before we even started using this and went through every single option, every single description that we could pick.
So just like customizing it a little bit.
We could customize it if we wanted to. We tried to generally keep it kind of streamlined with what PACP is set up, but we can do that. And what that does is on an asset management level, they can go ahead and take this data that we collect, and then we can go ahead and put it into our database management program system. And then it has a history, a work history of everything we've done, you know, per line segment, you know, so that you can pull a line segment up and just say search. And everything that we've done for that line segment is there. Granted, it only goes back to like 98 or something, you know, when we started to actually make it into the modern age. But from that point on, we can tell you everything we've done in that area, you know, on that.
Have you done all the pipes?
I have not done all the pipes.
But have they?
Yeah, we've gone through and done all of them. And that's kind of how it works. The system's so big is that you try to, you know, you just go basin by basin, and by the time you make it through one basin, you go to the next basin. By the time you do them all, it's like, all right, this one needs to be done again, because you're somewhere in the 7 to 8, I don't know, 7 to 9 years approximately. And that number's going to go up a little bit because we have, you know, I mean, we have more and more new construction, right? So.
And then do you, like, when people call in for problems, do you fit that in between all that?
Definitely. Yeah. That happens all the time. All the time. During the
Takes
workday,
space.
after the workday a lot, you know, call outs happen a lot.
Is the response time pretty quick? Is that?
Yeah, within an hour to 2 hours at the max. I mean, it just depends. Middle of the night, probably gonna take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
People like, what? Dang it. Get up, get going, get down here, like, get your bearings. Where am I going? And it depends on the nature of the issue, you know? I mean, we also have, we have the county area right here, which everyone's familiar with, but we also have Mount Hood, rhododendron, Brightwood, Zigzag,
you guys
all
got-
up there. Yeah, that's
Wow.
all our
I've seen your
area.
trucks when I'm going up to the mountain. I see
Yeah.
the west up there,
Yeah. So we're up there quite a bit, and we have a number of issues up there. A lot, especially during the wintertime with power,
Oh, okay.
power outages, and down here with all of our pump stations, we have automatic transfer switches for generators. So if power goes out here, basically at every station, a generator will kick on, and we don't have to do much. I mean, we'll respond, we'll go out and check the station, but we don't have to bring power to the station, if that makes sense. You know, just automatically switch over, assuming everything's operating properly. Up at the mountain, there's only one station that automatically kicks over. The other ones either have generators that we have to go on and turn on and manually do them, or we'll actually have to bring the generators up there and then haul them up, which can be fun, especially if it's snowy or icy or all that good stuff. So it's not uncommon for us to a few times a year have power go down in that area, and it always seems to happen at like 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And so by the time you get up there and get everything
That wind
going,
starts whipping through.
and by the time PGE like fixes it, it's like 6 in the morning, so you pretty much spend the whole night up there.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Is that the
Especially
main
after
difference
work.
usually between down here and up there is power, or is there a lot of other?
Yeah, power, yeah. Sometimes we get high wet wells, high flows,
Okay.
and that has to do with the pipe's really old. It's concrete. It was laid in the late 60s to early 70s. It wasn't laid very well, and because of that, there's a lot of native backfill. They didn't really properly bed
Yeah.
the ditch line when they laid the pipe, and so because of that, you know, I mean, concrete doesn't have a lot of flex, right? So over time, and they put native in, so the native backfill was like, it's basically a mix of sand and river rock, which isn't that
pine
hard.
needles.
And so when you have all that river rock on it, and it wasn't laid very well over time and pressure, it's gonna crack.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's not laid very deep, so it's probably about 3 to 5 feet approximately deep, and what's in Mount Hood area, right? A million trees.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of root problems up there.
So you have a lot
Lots
of
roots.
root infiltration.
We have a lot of root infiltration in Mount Hood, yeah. Yeah, we've got a lot, and we just have a lot of infiltration in general. A lot of groundwater gets in there, and because of that, when we get high rains, it's not uncommon for our wet wells to become high, and then we'll have high wet wells. And so our pumps will be running fine, but right, they can only, I mean, they perform at a high level, but when you have a lot of, I mean, imagine like a flash flood, right? But just underground. It's all this water is coming towards you, so you have all these cracks in your pipes. You're not only getting you know, stuff from the houses, but you're getting all the rainwater that's
So it's a combined sewer to sanitary?
no, it's sanitary
Okay.
only, but because of the pipes,
Yeah, you get a lot of-
you get a lot of that infiltration.
Diameter of the pipe and your distribution system, how low can that camera go? All the way to like the laterals, or
It can go deep. You're talking how deep can it go?
diameter of the pipe, how small down can it go? Like all the way
6
into
inch.
those-
6
to the
inch it
6
can
inch.
go. That doesn't have a lateral launch, is I think what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So like when I look at a pipe, so I'm going down the main pipe, right? I got this house that connects in
Yeah.
here. I can look at that and I can zoom up
That-
20 some feet or something, but I can't actually send a separate camera up. They make those, they make lateral launchers, we just don't have one where you can go, they usually go about max 100 feet up the lateral, you know, you can go up. But we do have, behind us, there's like that yellow looking little stand there, that's called a mini cam, or right, and it basically it's like It's about 100-foot reel, or it's about 200 feet, I think. And you can go from a clean out at a house or a business or whatever, and you can just throw it down the line, and then it has a little camera on the front. And so you can, if I'm in the road looking up, and then I can kind of, you can make the difference. So that's might be one of the reasons why we haven't invested in.
Another thing Matt had talked about was water. How does that do in water? How far would you go in water before you'd like say, okay? I mean, if all you seen was water, you'd still run it the whole 1,200 feet. You can't really make out the.
Assuming ideal conditions, yeah. I mean,
and you can tell the S factor and all that stuff underwater.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, so we take into account a lot of conditions: pipe, grade, velocity. And what kind of material is coming down the pipe, right? So, I mean, that all kind of factors into what we're doing. But more often than not, it's going to be pipe, type of pipe size, and what's the grade. So for this camera in particular, I get the furthest out if I'm in concrete pipe. The further I get out, 700, 800, 900 feet with how it's configured right now in PVC pipe, this camera just has a hard time pulling itself any further. It's a lot of line.
So about 100 feet.
What's that?
100 feet?
No, like 900 feet
and
approximately.
1,200 feet, so so that's why you said you don't always get that 1,200.
Yeah, right, and in PVC pipe especially. When I'm in concrete I can usually get a little bit farther, especially if I have a nice long straight run. Not a lot of friction as far as like a lot of velocity of the sewer, running really fast. If it's kind of a downhill slope, grade, if I can ride it pretty far, so that makes for a nice day.
Now, why did you say it can go further in concrete versus the PVC?
Because it has better traction.
Better traction.
Yeah. So on that PVC pipe, it starts to get slippery. Like if you look at the tires when you leave, you'll see that grit on them.
I saw the grit.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to touch them, put gloves on. Otherwise, don't touch them. Just wash your hands. But yeah. It starts to slip. It's hard for it to grab. You know what I mean? You just kind of start spinning, almost like if you're driving an ice or something.
Can you put studded tires on?
I mean, that's basically about the equivalent of studded tires. But so, okay, real quick. Control panel is right here, so you can see. It kind of gives you a pretty good idea. I know it's hard to see for you guys in the back, but you're welcome to filter in and out.
He's kind of showing this and some other stuff.
I'll switch, so you guys can get up front.
Is that what you move with?
This is this control panel for it?
Yeah. So there's kind of a two-part system here. So you can see, it tells you, okay, you're basically 4 feet out from the reel. And it'll count forwards or backwards, depending on where you are. So say if I'm going downstream, right, I'm going to be counting backwards because I'm going down, if that makes sense. If I'm going upstream, I'm going to be counting up. And that really all depends upon your stationings, right, of here. So see how this says 809? And if I'm going downstream, this one is 717. So I know I'm going down. I mean, obviously. If I started at 3 and I was going to 4, then I know I was going up. And you can tell because you can look at your service, or you can look at also your service connections. Is that number higher or bigger? So that's how we can figure it out.
This is a jetter truck, or flusher truck.
So what I was doing in the last group is that there is...
This is what you use to clean sewer lines. And the way it works is these are what you call fins, and these are about 5-inch fins. You always want to use smaller fins. Say if you have an 8-inch pipe, you want to use 5 or 6-inch fins. You want to have it smaller so you don't get it stuck. So this is a nozzle, and this one has 2 different angles on it. But the water. Once you turn the water pump on and get your water going, all the water shoots out of these nozzles, or holes. And the direction of this propels, once you give it water pressure, it propels the hose up the pipe. So say if you got 200 feet between two manholes and you put this in your manhole, you'll shoot it up the pipe, go to the next, shoot it upstream to the next manhole. Once you get there, then once you bring the hose back, that's what cleans the pipe. So,
And can you regulate the pressure that
yeah.
goes through there?
Yeah.
What do you normally operate as, or depends?
It depends. If the steeper the line, the more water pressure you got to give it to propel propel the hose up the line. But if you're in heavy grease or whatever, you run 18 to 2,000 psi. Yeah. For just normal clean, 1,500 is fine. Yeah. This is a tiger tail. So imagine the pipe's going to be at the bottom of the manhole. So imagine the manhole's right here. You got an inflow here, outflow here. So you'll have access to your pipe where the manhole's at. So what you do is you put this inside the pipe at the bottom of the manhole. You always want to make sure you have a tiger tail, because what this does is, especially when you bring it back, if you don't have this and you just have this, it's going to pinch the hose and wreck your hose. So this allows it to I don't know what the word is, but so it doesn't pinch the hose.
Just more protection.
Well, it's protection, but you got to have it. If you don't, you're going to wreck your hose. So it allows it to slide while you're bringing the hose back.
Does this hook up to it?
What's that?
How does it stay connected?
It just stays in. Well, imagine here's the top of your manhole like this. Your hose is going to be vertical inside the manhole. So the pressure of this against that is going to keep it there.
So this stays put.
Yes,
I see.
correct. Yes.
Which way do you clean, Tom?
Clean going downstream. You shoot going upstream. You shoot to your upstream, man. Say your flow's this way. You shoot upstream to the next manhole, but typically you clean downstream. Right. As it's coming downstream.
All the waste.
You don't want to clean against the flow because it'll back the flow up and you can potentially flood houses. Yeah.
Not a good idea.
No, not a good idea. Correct.
Do you guys use any foam or whatnot here to help?
We don't, not very often. No. We sometimes dump it down to service connection.
Is there a reason for that? It's not.
It's just a practice we haven't used much here. Some places do, and we may look into that in the future. But for now, we just mainly, we have a root problem in our service connection. We'll dump some down there to try and fill in the service connection. But for mainline, we haven't used much of it now. I can show you how this actually works.
See it.
If you okay.
Oh, I gotta get out of the way.
Yeah. There we go. This is gauge is the pump.
So do you guys have a shrine here of interesting things you found in the collection system?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bowling balls.
So is there like a finder's keeper sort of thing, or do you have to kind of all divvy it up whenever you find interesting things?
We divvy it up. Sometimes we get money.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but sometimes. We've gotten wedding rings.
Oh, wow.
We found a couple diamond rings. Yeah.
How many years have you been doing this?
15.
15?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever found down there?
Dead body.
Sewer?
Yeah.
The worst I've been in is roots.
Right.
Oh.
Yes, roots are a bad.
So
Can
when
be
you
a
have a
bad
flood, do
problem.
you send the camera down first, or do you just hold?
If we have a surcharged manhole, what we'll do is usually we'll
do
go
the
out
water
with this first, and we'll get it unplugged, and then check to see what caused the surcharge.
And so sometimes you have to send in the root cutter.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
So you basically you do the water first, and then the camera, and then the root cutter if necessary.
Just all depends.
Is the root cutter connected with this truck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are dead animals ever an issue? Stuck in there?
No. The only animals I've seen in sewer are rats. And there are a few. I've seen a few of them.
Yeah.
Air gap's up there, and that's where an air gap is used to prevent, I know the word, dude.
Backflow.
Backflow, yes. It's to prevent backflow from sewage from bad water getting back into the water system. So anyways, you go up to your hydrant, you hook this up, take your cap off, hook this up to the hydrant, close this, then you just turn your hydrant on. That gets your hydrant going, then you open this slowly. Water goes into this, fill up, and turn the hydrant off.
How do you know
And this truck, basically your hose and all this it's the same application as this. The thing with this truck, it's for more multiple purposes. This is your backer. This pipe here sucks material out. So we'll use this truck for catch basins,
Pollution manholes.
pollution manholes. When the sediment gets in the manhole, it'll suck all the sediment out of it. It also gives us the ability to, if we have a real bad sewer line that's full of rock, grit, material, what we'll do is we'll hook up our tubes here, and then each manhole has a flow line. It has a little trough in it to give you access to the pipe itself. So we'll hook these tubes up, and we'll lower this down to the flow line. What we'll do, if it's a real bad line that we know needs cleaning, we'll shoot up the hose, shoot it up the line to the next manhole, and then as we're coming back, cleaning that pipe and bringing all that material back, this is in your flow line, and you're sucking all that material out. So it's a nice.
Wet wells or their manholes. That's 90% of our work because we're in field operations, everything to get it to the treatment plant. So what this is just a tripod with a recovery system, fall protection. If somebody goes and loses their balance or something, it'll stop them before they fall in. Or if worst case scenario and they pass out on us, we can pull this emergency pin. It's a one-time use, and we got to send it back in or junk it, and you can winch them back out. We do have a separate winch that goes on here to lower people. Sometimes we have to lower them into a manhole if there's not a ladder or anything. But the first thing you want to do on a confined space is never go in unless you're trained, for one. And then we just use the gas meter, and we sense for 4 things. There's 4 sensors in here. You never want to leave them out in the sun or the heat, and you don't want to put them near exhaust because it'll ruin the sensors in them. Every morning we have to, before we take them out in the field, there's a machine in there and we turn them on and you calibrate them. The old school, you only calibrated like every couple months. These new ones, they want calibrated daily. And it just reads your combustibles, your H2S, your CO, and your oxygen.
Where on the body you keep that?
I usually put it right here on this D-ring. This is right on my chest. Something gotta lower me. But I usually put it there. You don't want to put it up around your head. What you'll find is like when we go on lamp lines and you're bending over looking up a line, you breathe on it, they're really sensitive, they go off. So you want to try to keep them somewhere on you. We'll clip them down here. Make sure they're secure, because one of Matt's last classmates that he sent to us, and we actually hired him full time, he one day only kind of clipped it on, and they're $1,000, and he sent it down through the pump. So make sure they're secure. These ones are really nice. They're nice and small and agile. The old ones are, I mean, they went from bricks to half a brick to this in the last 10 years. So the technology is really updated. But the first thing you want to do when you do a confined space entry is measure your atmosphere. So what you do is you open up the lid, we'll clip this on the hook, we'll drop it down into the manhole, usually about 2 feet off the bottom, 3 feet. Hold it down there for a minute, and it'll give us readings. When we scroll through this, that's what our highs is. You can see how CO got up to 14.1 H2S and 20.8, and then our lows was 20.8. And it'll tell you what your atmosphere is down there, so you know before you go in. You always want to do that. So after we do that, there's a confined space sheet. I didn't bring it out. You have to put prior entry readings down, and then you clip it on the guy, whoever's going in, they're harnessed up, they go down to do their work. And the biggest thing is like you get into some situations that is as cumbersome as that cable gets, you always got to leave it on. Like when you're trying to work, it's always pulling on you, especially in the wet wells where some of our wet wells, you'll get to see one of them now. It's almost 60 feet long, catwalk. You can't walk with the cable from one end to the other. But we use a different system. We use this flow retrieval system at our pump stations, but they all got davit arm anchors. It's easier to set up than this. We just drop it in a hole. You got the retrieval there. We're actually coming out of the Stone Age. I covered all yet? You guys all know what your upper and lower oxygen levels is?
19.5.
19.5.
20.1.
Okay.
Nice job, way to test them. They had their numbers. That's it.
Yeah, Matt's on it. Anybody got any questions?
What is a, did you say davit arm retrieval?
Davit arm. I can take you in and show you real quick. Also, I know one part of, you can grab this, one part I did go over is sometimes when you get into like industrial areas, we run into, or high traffic, we can't get the atmosphere we need, so we'll mechanically blow or suck. This is a blower here. These are really nice. They fold up on themselves. And what you can do is if you need to, you can swap the ends. You can either blow air in or you can pull air out. And like the big pump stations, what we'll do is we'll pull air out and push in to get the atmosphere we need. Because the wet well is usually the hardest place to get an atmosphere. And this is the davit arm I was talking about. There's another part to it that sets in a hole, an engineered anchor point, so then we can just run that. It's a lot easier to maintain. We also have, there's a base to it where we can use it kind of like this over a manhole, but the tripod's way easier over a manhole than packing all that stuff.
So around the plant,
This goes up to this.
looks like little silver kind of pieces about this big that are anchored to the side of the corner things. Is that what hooks up to that?
Yeah, that shaft right there, he's got his hand, slides into it, and then you put that davit arm on. It's been the last handful of years they've been trying to hit all of our points that we enter a lot, so we don't. Because like some of them, if you look, you can't set a tripod up on. So that's about the only way to enter in.
Does that hook up on the back of a truck or something?
No. Yeah, you never want to hook anybody in a confined space up to a vehicle.
That's true. Let's go.
It could be a rude awakening for them.
Is there a certain distance you park away from the confined space? Because I know that sometimes exhaust might seep down in there.
Usually we don't really, but you don't leave the vehicle running. We do got a picture of one of our guys. He pulled his truck up with an exhaust pipe right at the bolt, and then one of our retirees kept joking about starting it up all the time while I was in there, just because it was like the perfect shot for it. But
how about any for a position? Let's say a new person gets in. Do they have to have a license eventually, or
you have to go through the confined space training prior to doing any kind of confined space entry. I don't know if it's the law, but it's our policy. We don't allow until you do the full day course. We don't allow you to go in. It's just like competent person that we make everybody do that, and we won't allow somebody to supervise like a dig up unless they have a competent person card. So
what
then
help with the competent person card? What would that?
Competent person just knows the soil, can read the soil, and knows what requirements you're going to need for shoring and all that stuff. And just like confined space, if you're not trained, you might not know what's required. Because we used to have the policy that our old safety lady had it to where we could go in manholes with just a meter, as long as there was an engulfment factor or a hazard or an industrial hazard, like a dry cleaner or industry around. So like we're up in a subdivision, we could go in the manholes without the tripod and everything. But the new safety guy says no. So we're supposed to pack a tripod and have harness on every manhole, which can cut your productivity in about 3/4. It is what it is. The OSHA in the last 2 years rewrote all the confined space rules. Another thing that Matt said he was going to kind of I know you guys will read about and study about smoke testing, and we used to do it, but we haven't done it in 10 years. Kind of creates you more headaches than what it fixes.
Public relation headaches.
Yeah. We do more. We use dye to find problems, and usually they're customer generated. Somebody will call us and say, "Hey, I got toilet paper in a catch basin," or like one time, Rick, we got feminine products in a stormwater pond, and we spent a whole day almost.
You can use a camera on that too.
Yeah.
Plus dye down the pipe and watch it with the camera. So if it comes out, you're sort of finished.
But sometimes with the way the system works, it took us most of the day to track back where we were getting the cross connection, because it was at the very top of the system, and you got to go line segment until you're TV in, and then all of a sudden it goes away. It's from that line segment down, so it gets real cumbersome. But where smoke testing wouldn't help us on that stuff. Smoke testing is more for like helping spots. Like we did Oregon City years ago. We had smoke coming out pretty much everywhere, sidewalks, creeks. It was not good.
Bob, how about just a quick overview of like we're going to be going to the pump stations, we're going to be seeing just the whole big collection system. What do you guys kind of just the bigger, how much, different types of pipes, just I guess a little overview of Clackamas County and what you guys are cleaning.
We do anywhere from 6-inch clear up to 48 is our interceptor that goes into Kellogg. I think Tri-Cities is what, 60?
60, I think it's 60.
The main coming in here. We don't do much with the big interceptors. Anything over about 24. We have our Clackamas interceptors flat, and it's deep, and it's 24, and we got grip problems on that. When it comes down to some of it, it's cost, and we run out of money to clean all the problems. We maintain anything from like pump stations. If we can't get it to gravity, we pump it. So we go all the way to Welch's, Hoodland area. We got 7 pump stations up there that we maintain. We got boring, the lagoons, and the pump station there. And then what do we got? 12 down here. And they average anywhere from what's Mitchell Creek for flow?
As far as time, they would probably run maybe 4 hours a week.
At Mitchell Creek, which is just a little residential up in Happy Valley, clear to our latest one you guys will get to see, it's 3 creeks, and it's where we divert flow from Kellogg wastewater treatment to this one, and we can go up to 10 MGD, and it's the newest, latest, and greatest. And it's kind of a beast in itself, because the way you can run it from 3 different places, and it's trying to make everybody happy, make these guys happy so you don't blow them out of the water, make sure Kellogg's not violating permit, so it can be a treat sometimes. But that's pretty much what we do. And then we're S&S techs now, so we do stormwater too, so we have to maintain all the stormwater quality ponds and clean all the pipes for that. So some of the pipes we get into there are 72 and larger in the detention pipes, and the design of them is just a nightmare for us to clean. other than sending a guy in with a fire hose in that back truck, like there's no real easy way to clean them when you get that large a diameter pipe. Because we're the biggest size of pipe we're really set up to clean right now is 24 and TV. Once we get much bigger than that, we're really not equipped. This is the mapping, the GIS system that it's on the computer, but this is printed off. How we go, we do basins. If you guys look at the middle Kellogg, this is the mapping system of our sewer to the different basins. And this is all computerized in Westworks, but we just print it off because sometimes it's faster just to go over and look at the wall and figure out where a line is than try to get it on the computer. And you can see how they all flow down to the main intercept there. You know, and when we clean, we start like Tom. He has one of these maps in his truck, and what he'll do is he'll start at the top. He always, clean down. Does anybody got any questions about GIS?
Are these little circles like each manhole?
Each one of these, they're a manhole and they got a structure ID number. See, the manhole has a structure ID and then the line segment does too. And that's how we track with our work orders what we've cleaned.
And so are these or?
Yeah, that's just in a different basin. Yeah, see the highlighted areas is our basins. And the way we clean our system is off basins, so it's just easier to track.
Besides the manhole, what else has a structure ID number?
Stormwater ponds, catch basins, open drainages, bioswales.
And all the red ticks just like connections.
Yeah, all these red, there's not a lot of them are accurate, but they're just drawn in. That's all service connections. And we have stationing, we use as-built and stationing to locate. We don't have ability, we just do it off footages when we try to locate stuff a lot of times.